young girl with a heart full of aspirations embarks on a journey to become a witch. Inspired by legendary tales, she seeks to soar through the skies and explore the mystic lands. Her path is not just about mastering spells. It's a quest for self-discovery, resilience, and embracing her inner magic. This is the story of a girl's journey to fulfill her dream, to become a witch, and carve her own path in a world brimming with enchantment. Episode 1. The story of Elaina, a young girl with a voracious appetite for books and a dream to become a witch, begins in her adolescence. Her favorite book, Adventures of Nike, tells of a witch traveling the world, inspiring Elaina to proclaim to her parents her own ambition to follow in Nike's footsteps. They support her dream, but with the condition that she first becomes a witch when she's older. Driven by her passion, Elaina dedicates herself to her studies, achieving the remarkable feat of passing the witch exam at just 14 years old. This makes her the youngest apprentice witch in the history of her country, Rebecca, but her journey is just beginning. Despite her accomplishment, she faces an unexpected hurdle. Her prodigious talent intimidates other witches, leading to her rejection when seeking a mentor to become a full-fledged witch. In a turn of events, Elaina learns about a witch known as the Stardust Witch, living in the nearby woods. When she meets this enigmatic witch, named Fran, her initial skepticism turns to hope as Fran recognizes Elena's accomplishment and agrees to take her on as an apprentice. Elena's apprenticeship, however, is not what she expects. Instead of learning magic, she finds herself performing mundane tasks for Fran. After a month of this, Fran finally announces a test for Elaina, a magical duel. The duel, held beside a dramatic cliffside in a waterfall, escalates quickly. Fran's relentless approach drives Elaina to the edge, and in a moment of frustration she attacks, only to be easily overpowered by her master. Defeated and in tears, Elaina confronts Fran, believing that her master never intended to teach her magic, just like the other Robetta witches who rejected her. Fran, in an attempt to comfort Elaina, reveals the truth. Elena's parents had asked Fran to teach her about failure and setbacks. Fran had planned to do this through trials, but Elena's self-awareness and endurance made this unnecessary. The duel was part of this lesson, pushing Elaina to her limit to teach her an important lesson. From that day forward, Elena's training under Fran begins in earnest. She learns magic and becomes more assertive, though sometimes to Fran's dismay. After a year, Elaina completes her apprenticeship and earns her witch title, the Ashen Witch, named for her ash-colored hair. It's a moment of triumph and transformation. Fran, who is revealed to be a distinguished witch from another country, departs after a tearful goodbye, leaving Elaina to continue her journey. Elaina returns home to inform her parents of her success and to seek their permission to embark on her journey. Like Nike in her favorite book, her mother agrees, setting 3 promises for her: to avoid trouble, to remain humble, and to return home one day to share her stories. As Elaina sets off at 18, dressed as a proper witch and armed with a diary to document her adventures, she embarks on a journey filled with wonder, challenges, and the magic of self-discovery. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. Which anime has the most goated characters? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out in a future video. Episode 2. Following her departure from her apprenticeship with the Stardust Witch Fran, Elaina, now the Ashen Witch, finds herself in the land of mages. Here, an unexpected encounter unfolds as she crashes into another young witch, plummeting onto a rooftop and damaging it. Elaina, with her usual grace, quickly sets to work, mending the broken roof tiles with a time reversal spell, while also tending to the young witch's head wound with a healing spell. The young witch, seemingly flustered by the incident, protests Elena's departure, but Elaina, ever focused on her journey, continues on her way. As she soars through the sky, Elaina decides to seek accommodation at an inn. However, she faces rejection at every establishment she approaches, leaving her with no choice but to try her luck at a dilapidated and uninviting place. To her surprise, the young witch from earlier, named Saya, works at this inn. Saya, overwhelmed and melodramatic, mistakenly believes Elaina seeks revenge for their earlier collision. Elaina reassures her, explaining that she simply seeks a place to stay. It's only after signing the inn's registry that Elaina realizes her brooch is missing. Together with Saya, they return to the crash site in search of it, but to no avail. That night, in an unexpected turn of events, Saya sneaks into Elena's room, pleading with her to teach her the skills needed to pass the apprentice witch exam. Through Saya's story, Elaina learns of her and her sister Mina's journey from a country to the east, their aspirations to become apprentice witches, and their struggle to pass the exam. Mina, having succeeded and returned home, left Saya behind to continue trying. Moved by Saya's plight, and with the exam approaching, Elaina decides to help her. Training begins just outside the city. focusing initially on broomstick handling, an area where Saya lacks proficiency. Contrary to expectations, Saya excels in her flying lessons under Elena's guidance, showing remarkable improvement. Their time together extends beyond training, sharing meals where Elaina encourages Saya to overcome her picky eating habits. As days pass, Elaina introduces Saya to wind magic, aiming to enhance her precision. Their practice involves using wind magic to cut an apple from a tree, a task requiring both skill and control. Throughout their time together, Elaina continues to search for her missing brooch, until an old lady reveals its location in exchange for a gold coin. During one of the nights, Saya confides in Elaina, sharing a room with her. It's here that Elaina discovers Saya's deception. She was the one who had taken the brooch, hoping to prolong Elena's stay to alleviate her loneliness. Understanding Saya's loneliness, Elaina gifts her a spare hat, a gesture of kindness and empathy. In return, Saya promises to cover Elena's stay at the inn. Elaina documents this experience in her journal before retiring for the night. Time flows swiftly, and 6 months later, Elaina finds herself in a different country. She reads a newspaper article announcing that Saya has finally become an apprentice witch and is now embarking on her own journey, driven by the love and gratitude she holds for the one who helped her achieve her dream. Episode 3. Elaina, the Ashen Witch, continues her journey, this time finding herself soaring over a lush forest that opens into a vast, breathtaking field of flowers. Here, she encounters a solitary young girl, diligently tending to the flowers. The girl, noticing Elena's witch symbol, requests her to deliver a bouquet of these flowers to anyone in the next country who finds them beautiful. Elaina, always willing to lend a hand, agrees to this simple yet heartfelt task. As night falls, Elaina approaches a country checkpoint, her arms cradling the delicate bouquet. However, her arrival is met with resistance from a young, abrasive guard, suspicious of the flowers she carries. A senior guard intervenes, sending the young one away and explaining the unfortunate truth. The flowers are poisonous, a danger unknown to those outside the witch community. Respecting the potential threat, Elaina permits the guard to dispose of the flowers, a decision that weighs on her as she retires to an inn for the night. Here, she pens her thoughts in her diary, recalling a story from her favorite book about a sentient, mutated plant that wrought havoc upon those with magical abilities. The next day, before departing for another country, Elaina decides to revisit the flower field. Upon her return, she encounters the young soldier from the checkpoint, now afflicted with a plant-like mutation. In a heart-wrenching revelation, he expresses gratitude for the flowers and the shawl that wrapped them, which belonged to his missing sister. Tragically, his sister has transformed into a humanoid plant, their reunion ending with her enveloping him in her vines. As Elaina flies away, the sky weeps with rain, mirroring the somber scene below where humanoid figures, entwined in vines and flowers, slowly make their way towards the city. Continuing her journey, Elaina crosses paths with a young man named Emil, carrying a bottle filled with what he claims to be happiness. Emil's intention is to present this bottled happiness to Nino, a gloomy and ill servant in his house, in hopes of brightening her spirits. This gesture reminds Elaina of a story she once read about a magician who created beautiful illusions for his bedridden wife. However, she struggles to recall the story's conclusion. Arriving at Emil's village, Elaina is taken aback by the grandeur of the chief's house, where Emil resides. Inside, they are greeted by Nino, a timid girl with a demeanor reflecting her Eastern origins. Emil, revealing that Nino was found by his father in the East, informs Elaina that the chief is occupied and desires grilled fish for lunch. As Nino prepares the meal, Emil reveals his intention to present the bottled happiness to her, despite her initial reluctance, fearing the chief's anger. During lunch, Emil's father, the village chief, joins them. Post-meal, as Nino and Emil clear the dishes, Elaina inquires about Nino's background. The chief reveals a disturbing truth. Nino was purchased as a slave to replace his wife's absence in the household chores. A tense moment arises when Nino accidentally breaks a pitcher, leading to a reprimand from the chief. Elaina intervenes, magically repairing the pitcher and diffusing the situation. Outside, Emil discusses Nino's depressed demeanor with Elaina, who suggests it's the perfect time to give her the bottled happiness. Emil does so, and the gift fills Nino with joy as he vows to make her happy. As Elaina departs at dusk, the memory of the magician's story resurfaces. The illusions he created for his wife, far from bringing joy, deepened her despair, leading to her tragic end. This somber recollection casts a shadow over Elena's thoughts, prompting her to ponder the eventual impact of Emil's gift on Nino as she continues her journey. Episode 4. Elena's journey as the Ashen Witch takes a chilling turn as she finds herself amidst a fierce snowstorm. Seeking shelter, she descends into a desolate, snow-covered country, its landscape marred by ruins. Amidst the devastation, one structure stands defiantly, a castle shrouded in a magical ward. Elaina, determined and resourceful, burns down its doors to gain entry and discovers the castle's sole inhabitant, a princess named Mirarose. Rose, exuding hospitality despite her circumstances, offers Elaina food and a room for the night. Over tea, she shares her fragmented memories. A mysterious letter is her only link to understanding the destruction of her country and the ominous safety of the castle. The letter reveals a monstrous entity named Chevalier, responsible for the country's ruin. Chevalier, awakening at sunset, is driven by a singular malevolent purpose: to kill Rose. The letter urges Rose, now revealed to be a witch, to confront and eliminate the beast, ending its reign of terror. Despite the gaps in her memory, Rose expresses confidence in her magical prowess to defeat Chevalier. Elaina, ever pragmatic and detached, initially declines to assist, finding no personal gain in the endeavor. However, appreciating Rose's hospitality, she eventually agrees to help devise a strategy. They will create a pitfall trap to ensnare Chevalier, allowing Rose to unleash her magic upon the trapped monster. As night envelops the castle, their plan springs into action with flawless execution. Chevalier falls into the trap, and Rose, with relentless ferocity, bombards the creature with a barrage of magical attacks. Amidst the chaos, Rose's lost memories resurface, revealing a harrowing truth. Chevalier is, in fact, her father, the king, transformed into a monstrous form by Rose's own hand. Driven by hatred for her father, who mercilessly killed her beloved servant and lover, Rose had sought revenge by cursing him into the very beast she now confronts. The revelation is a shock to both Rose and Elaina. Rose, consumed by a mixture of grief and rage, beheads the creature that was once her father. The weight of her actions and the memories that flood back fracture her mind, leaving her in a state of brokenness. Elaina, witnessing the tragic end of this tale, slips away from the castle unnoticed, continuing her travels through the wintry landscape. Behind her, Rose, now alone in the vast empty halls of her castle, is engulfed by her grief. She bakes bread in silence, talking to herself, a shadow of the princess she once was. Episode 5. Elaina, the Ashen Witch, arrives in an unnamed country, her curious eyes quickly drawn to books for sale titled The Adventures of Fran. As she skims through the pages, she's struck by the uncanny resemblance of the character inside to her former teacher, sparking a vivid flashback to her visit 6 months ago to the country known as Royal Celestria. Upon her arrival in Royal Celestria, Elaina is immediately captivated by the country's vibrant and joyous atmosphere. Mages perform enchanting tricks, delighting the citizens and creating a sense of wonder and happiness throughout the streets. Her journey leads her to the imposing gates of the Royal Magic Academy. Intrigued, Elaina attempts to use her magic to enter, but a local worker quickly intervenes, preventing her access despite her status as a witch. As Elaina observes the mages in flight, going about their work, she's approached by 2 students from the academy. They attempt to persuade her to accompany them without question, but Elaina, valuing her independence, declines. Her refusal sparks a pursuit as she finds herself surrounded by a group of students, all eager to capture her. However, Elena's exceptional broomstick skills enable her to deftly evade their coordinated efforts. As evening falls, the students, exhausted from their futile chase, are on the verge of giving up. It's then that Fran appears, Elena's former teacher, now a teacher at the Royal Magic Academy. She explains to the students the difference between their abilities and those of a full-fledged witch like Elaina, leaving her former pupil surprised and somewhat nostalgic. Fran reveals that she had orchestrated the students' pursuit of Elaina as a training exercise and as a means to easily locate her in the expansive country. The 2 catch up, and Elaina shares her adventures, drawing parallels to her favorite book, The Adventures of Nike. In a poignant moment as they reminisce over a story titled Fula, the Apprentice Witch, it's subtly revealed that Fula is actually Fran's past self, once an apprentice under Nike, who eventually became a traveler herself. Nike, on the other hand, settled into an ordinary life in the countryside. Fran reminisces about her journey, revealing that she once authored a novel inspired by The Adventures of Nike, but never published it due to her dissatisfaction with the work. The following day, Elaina assists Fran in teaching the students at the academy, guiding them in manipulating water to form a perfect sphere. Her helpful nature and expertise greatly aid the students in their magical endeavors. On the eve of her departure, Fran takes Elaina to her favorite spot in Royal Celestria. They discuss the students' futures, with Fran expressing that the mages work not for monetary gain, but for the love of their craft. Fran, wanting to gift Elaina something memorable, decides on flowers, planning to present them the next morning. As Elaina prepares to leave the next day, she notices petals of flowers in the air, farewell gesture from Fran and her students. Fran's words of encouragement resonate with Elaina, reminding her that she is always supported and cheered on. They exchange heartfelt goodbyes as Elaina departs, continuing her journey. In the closing scene, back in the present, Elaina closes The Adventures of Fran and reflects on the artwork of Fran she's seen around the country. She looks forward to sharing her new stories with Fran the next time their paths cross. Episode 6. Elaina, the Ashen Witch, arrives at the land of truth-tellers, intrigued by its recent renaming, which she discovers only occurred 6 months ago. Skeptical of the country's claim that it prevents people from lying, Elaina decides to explore and uncover the truth for herself. Her first test is simple. Can she speak a lie? Surprisingly, she finds herself only able to utter the truth. The town's eerie quietness further piques her curiosity. Her skepticism grows when she's deceived by the promise of freshly baked bread, shattering her expectation of a country characterized by honesty and purity. During her exploration, a woman inquires if Elaina is a dispatched witch from the United Magic Association. Elaina denies this, noting that association affiliates are identified by moon-shaped brooches. Elaina also discovers that the inability to lie extends to written words. As she observes the town, a fight breaks out nearby. An observer explains that the silence in the town is due to the dangerous nature of speaking only truths, which can escalate into conflicts. Suddenly, a witch intervenes with her magic to stop the violence. To Elena's surprise, the witch is none other than Saya, now a fully fledged witch known as the Sooty Witch, mirroring Elena's own title. Saya explains that she is working for the United Magic Association to earn money while traveling. Together, Elaina and Saya meet Ihemia, a silent figure who communicates the reason behind her muteness. 6 months ago, the king demanded a way to eliminate liars from his kingdom, desiring only truthful subjects. Ihemia created a barrier that enforced truthfulness, but at a great personal cost: her voice and magical powers. The barrier, bound to an old sword, has since been wielded by the king, and Ihemia was expelled from the palace for her weakened state. Ihemia's wish is for Elaina and Saya to restore the country to its original state by destroying the king's sword, which would also return her voice and magic. The opportunity arises when the king plans to hold a speech in a month. However, unwilling to wait with Saya, Elaina decides they should infiltrate the palace themselves. Craftily, they use broken pages to construct a sentence that tricks the guard into granting them entry. As they prepare to confront the king, guards swarm to stop them. Saya bravely handles the guards while Elaina confronts the king. She argues that truths alone are not always beneficial, explaining that lies can smooth over social interactions and protect relationships. In a climactic moment, Elaina launches her broomstick, catching the king off guard and forcing him to release the sword. She then summons a magical hammer to shatter the barrier sword, restoring the kingdom's original state and Ihemia's powers. With the sword's destruction, the kingdom is revitalized with happiness and light. The king, realizing his mistake, apologizes to his subjects, and Ihemia is reinstated at the palace. In the final scene, Saya expresses her gratitude to Elaina, gifting her a matching dual dolphin heart necklace. They make a heartfelt promise to meet again in the future, solidifying their bond as they each continue their respective journeys. Episode 7. In the past, a young Elaina reads from The Adventures of Nike, learning about a country divided into east and west by a wall due to the villagers' disagreements. Nike stands at this very wall, where the village chief expresses his desire to prove his side's superiority. Nike carves a message declaring the splendor of his side and suggests inviting travelers to inscribe similar messages, believing that more inscriptions would signify superiority. Initially skeptical, the chief is taken aback when Nike reveals she has told the same story to the other side, resulting in a tradition of travelers inscribing the wall. Years later, Saya, reading messages on the wall, encounters the village chief who seeks her help to rejuvenate interest in the wall. Saya's attempt to inscribe her love for Elaina is halted by the chief, leading her to suggest changing the rule to allow everyone, not just travelers, to write whatever they wish on the wall. Elaina, excited to visit the country of her childhood book, is disappointed to find the wall demolished upon her arrival. The village ministers, mistaking her for someone else, disrespect her, leading to a failed retort from Elaina. She learns that the freedom to write anything resulted in embarrassment for the villagers, as their words constantly confronted them. Attempts to erase the inscriptions eventually led to the wall's collapse. This destruction brings an unexpected revelation. The residents of both sides were alike, leading them to live together harmoniously. Elena's curiosity about which side had more inscriptions is met with the revelation that it was equal, proving that the wall's downfall was beneficial, as a country exists for its inhabitants, not travelers. Elaina receives a fragment of the wall, surprisingly inscribed with half of her name. In another tale, at a grape farm, a grandson inquires about the grape-tossing festival. The village, once split into over here and over there, had experienced a surge in wine sales in over there due to featuring Rosemary, a ravishing girl, on their wine labels. Elaina visits over here, suggesting they find their grape-stomping maiden to compete. Misunderstanding her suggestion, the village prepares for Elaina to become their maiden. As Elaina toils in the grape fields, Rosemary arrives, taunting her before leaving. Elena's efforts are cheered on, and a photo is taken for the wine label. Exhausted, Elaina inquires about the wine yield and learns of the enormous sales in over there, leading her to deduce that it's impossible for Rosemary to produce such such quantities alone. This suspicion is confirmed when it's revealed that workers in over there have been stomping the grapes, not rosemary. Feeling deceived, the chief is saddened, leading to a grape-throwing altercation between the villages. A drunken Elaina unleashes a magical grape onslaught, knocking out everyone. By morning, she's gone. This incident births the grape-tossing festival, a stress reliever that unites the two villages. Grandson acknowledges the witch's role in uniting them. Finally, it's revealed that Rosemary, the initial grape-stomping girl, is now the mayor's wife, symbolizing the unity and harmony that now pervade the villages. Episode 8. Elaina, wandering through a peculiar country, notices an abundance of dolls scattered across the streets and shops. Her attention is drawn to another witch from the United Magic Association, who is gathering information about a series of crimes linked to an individual known as the Ripper. After speaking with citizens, Sheila, the Night Witch, approaches Elaina and inquires about her knowledge of these crimes. Elaina, unfamiliar with the Ripper, is asked by Sheila for assistance should she come across any clues, to which Elaina agrees. While exploring, Elaina stumbles upon a store offering free dolls. The shopkeeper, who creates all the dolls herself, explains she gives them away to see the joy they bring to people. Despite the shopkeeper's insistence, Elaina declines to take a doll, finding them unsettling. That night, Elaina stays at a hotel where she discovers a doll in her room. Uncomfortable, she magically moves it into the closet. She then spends the evening relaxing with a bath, diary writing, and reading, eventually falling asleep. The next morning, Elaina wakes to find the window open and, more shockingly, her hair cut short. A flashback reminds her of a citizen's comment from the previous day, indicating that the lives of 4 women were taken, referring to a woman's hair. Elaina calls Sheila to investigate. After searching her room, they discover the doll's hair in the closet matches Elena's missing hair. Sheila, noticing Elena's necklace and witch name, brushes off Elena's query about her reaction. Upon leaving the hotel, Elaina observes the concierge's doll, its hair eerily human-like. Sheila forcefully interrogates the concierge, uncovering that the doll was acquired from a secret auction selling special dolls. That evening, dressed in disguises, Elaina and Sheila attend the auction. Initially, the auction items reveal nothing pertinent to the Ripper's case. However, the final auction item, a doll with real human hair, catches Elena's attention. It has her ashen hair. As Elaina prepares to act, Sheila cautions her that the bidders are likely not involved in the crimes. Crowd's excitement peaks when it's announced the dolls are from the Ripper. Elaina, outraged, disrupts the auction, confronting the audience for their complicity. In an attempt to lure out the Ripper, she tortures the doll, causing shock among the spectators. The Ripper, revealed to be the shopkeeper who gave away the dolls, admits to donating the auction's profits to the poor, garnering applause. Elaina challenges the Ripper's desire to see happiness, questioning her need to also witness sadness and anger. The Ripper, attempting to intimidate Elaina by revealing she is a witch, is surprised when Elaina, a witch herself, traps her in a cage. Sheila arrests the Ripper, thanking Elaina for her help. Elaina uses her magic to transfer her hair back from the doll. In the final scene, Saya, upon learning the identity of the Ripper from Sheila, realizes the connection to Elaina and furiously approaches the captured Ripper, much to the woman's delight. Episode 9. Out of funds and struggling with hunger, Elaina comes across a flyer promising payment for an ultra-short-term job. Intrigued and in need, she heads to the address listed and meets Estelle, fellow witch deeply immersed in researching time travel magic. Initially exchanging insults, Elaina inquires about the job and its compensation. Estelle unfolds her tragic history with Selena, a girl who turned into a psychotic murderer following the death of her parents and abuse by her uncle. Estelle, bearing the weight of executing Selena with her own hands, reveals her plan to travel back 10 years to rescue Selena's parents, hoping to prevent Selena's descent into madness. Estelle has gone to extreme lengths to enable the time travel spell, including bloodletting to accumulate mana and sacrificing her magical abilities in the process. She introduces 2 sets of magic rings that allow users to share magical power. Intrigued and enticed by the prospect of seeing the city in the past, Elaina agrees to the terms and joins Estelle on this time-traveling mission. Arriving 10 years in the past, Estelle explains they have only an hour to save Selena's parents before the magic ceases, clarifying that their actions won't affect their timeline, but are aimed at easing Estelle's conscience. During their mission, Estelle encounters a young Selena and emotionally vows to succeed in saving her this time. After a brief, polite exchange, Selena departs, and Estelle hurries to find her parents. Meanwhile, Elaina, pondering Estelle's story, questions the intensity of the crime scene from a mere robbery. As she continues her search, Elena's ring activates, signaling Estelle's engagement in combat, presumably with the murderer. Rushing to the scene, Elena's arrival is met with horror, chaotic scene of flames, blood, and corpses. Selena, standing amidst the destruction, reveals herself to Elaina, laughing maniacally. She confesses to killing her parents, describing their happiness as a facade. Selena, upon learning they were there to prevent her murderous future, attacks Elaina. Estelle, still alive and having overheard the conversation, intervenes, attacking Selena with a fury fueled by betrayal and heartbreak. Elaina desperately tries to stop Estelle and remove her ring, but to no avail. Estelle, consumed by rage, continues her magical assault, burning the very memories of Selena in a bid to eradicate her. As the clock marks the end of their hour, Selena's lifeless body falls to the ground, decapitated amidst the fire. In the aftermath, Estelle, now devoid of any memories of Selena, is left with the realization that she has killed her childhood friend twice. Elaina, deeply disturbed and without her payment, flees Estelle's home. Collapsed on a park bench, she cries, reflecting on the harrowing events, Estelle's loss of memory, the tragic fate of Selena, and the heart-wrenching burden of killing a friend with one's own hands. Episode 10. Meanwhile, Sheila, another witch, tasks Saya with delivering a box to the United Magic Association branch in the town of Knorts. Sheila then prepares to embark on an annual vacation with Fran, a fellow witch and a former apprentice of Nike, just like Sheila. As Sheila and Fran journey together, they reminisce about their youth, reflecting on their time as apprentices under the tutelage of Nike. They remember their frequent clashes, both strong-willed and determined, often finding themselves at odds. Their rivalry reaches a crucial point when Nike assigns them the task of apprehending the Curio Company, a notorious band of robbers wreaking havoc in Knorts. However, their inability to work together proves detrimental. Their constant bickering and competition lead to their capture by the Curio Company. Faced with this dire situation, Sheila and Fran realize the futility of their rivalry. They decide to set aside their differences and combine their strengths, a decision that turns the tide in their favor. United, they successfully defeat the Curio Company, marking a significant turning point in their apprenticeship. This victory and newfound cooperation pave the way for Sheila and Fran to become full-fledged witches. Their shared experience not only enhances their magical prowess, but also solidifies a bond between them, transforming their rivalry into a deep, enduring friendship. In the present Sheila, upon recognizing the box Saya is tasked with delivering as an artifact belonging to the Curio Company, senses something amiss. Driven by a sense of urgency and concern, she hastily pursues Saya, intent on intercepting her before the box reaches its destination. Meanwhile, Elena's travels bring her to Knorts, unaware of the unfolding events linked to Sheila, Fran, and the mysterious box associated with the Curio Company. Episode 11. In the town of Knorts, Elaina stumbles upon a news article revealing the release of the Curio Company after 20 years of imprisonment. This news brings an air of tension to the town, known for its past troubles with the infamous group. Meanwhile, Saya, having arrived in Knorts, has an unexpected encounter with the leader of the Curio Company, who attempts but fails to steal the mysterious box she is delivering. Saya then meets her younger sister Mina, who is working undercover in the town. The reunion is cut short as the situation in Knorrs escalates. The Curio Company leader, determined to cause chaos, confronts Elaina and casts a spell, resulting in Elaina and Saya swapping bodies. In Saya's body, Elaina inadvertently opens the box, unleashing a love potion that quickly spreads across the town, affecting its inhabitants. In the midst of this confusion, Elaina, still in Saya's body, and Saya, now in Elena's body, manage to locate each other. They work together to apprehend members of the Curio Company, seeking the whereabouts of their elusive leader. Their investigation leads them to a confrontation with the leader, who boasts about the presence of more unseen members of her group within the town. At this critical moment, Fran and Sheila arrive, lending their expertise and power to help restore order in Knorts. Their timely intervention aids in controlling the situation and dealing with the members of the Curio Company. The following day, Elaina and Saya find themselves back in their original bodies. As Sheila, Saya, and Mina prepare to leave the town, Elaina and Fran share a conversation, reflecting on the events that transpired. Their interaction is brief but meaningful, marking another encounter in their journeys as witches. With the town of Knorts returning to normalcy and the situation with the Curio Company resolved, Elaina decides to continue on her journey. The experiences in Knorts, the body swap, the encounter with the Curio Company, and the brief reunion with Fran all contribute to her growing experiences as a traveling witch. Elaina, ever curious and seeking new adventures, sets off to her next destination, carrying with her the memories and lessons learned from her time in Knorts. Episode 12. Eleina's journey leads her to a peculiar country, renowned for its claim to make wishes come true. As she ventures inside, she discovers that the locations within this country mirror the places she has visited in her past travels. Intrigued, Elaina decides to explore further, curiosity drawing her to Mirarose's castle, a place she remembers well. At the castle, Elaina encounters a startling revelation. There are multiple versions of herself, each one representing different aspects of her experiences and emotions. This discovery leads to a meeting with these various incarnations of herself, creating a surreal and introspective atmosphere. However, the gathering takes an unexpected turn when it is revealed that one of the Elainas has been acting violently, attacking others. This aggressive version of Elaina soon makes her presence known. The real Elaina, seeking to understand the motives behind her counterpart's actions, confronts her. The violent Elaina confesses her actions stem from unresolved pain and trauma from her experiences in Rostov, a town Elaina had previously visited. She expresses a desire for others to feel the same pain, a reflection of her own suffering. A battle ensues, both physically and emotionally exhausting, as the real Elaina faces off against her violent self. In the heat of the conflict, Elaina manages to reach a peaceful resolution with her aggressive counterpart, addressing the pain and finding closure. With the battle resolved, the Elainas return to the castle. In a moment of collective reflection and understanding, they decide to compile their diaries into a book titled Wandering Witch. This decision symbolizes the merging of their experiences, thoughts, and emotions into a single narrative, representing the complexity and depth of Eleina's journey as a witch. Later, as Elaina continues her travels, she finds herself in another country. Here, she encounters a girl named Amnesia. In a twist of fate, they accidentally exchange their books. This encounter hints at a future where Elaina and Amnesia will travel together, suggesting new adventures and stories waiting to be unfolded. As Elaina departs with Amnesia, her journey as the Wandering Witch continues. If you want more binge-worthy anime recaps like these, don't forget to like and subscribe, and definitely do not forget to comment your answer to the question of the day for a shot to be featured in our next video.